You are about to enter the TurboZone. The TurboZone technology provides a concentrated wash to a specific zone in the back of the lower dish rack for large, hard-to-clean dishes such as pans, casseroles, or lasagna dishes. When the TurboZone option is selected, these back spray jets are activated once during the initial fill and twice during the wash cycle. To activate the TurboZone wash option, you simply select the TurboZone button on the control panel. The TurboZone option can be used with SMARTWASH, pots and pans, or normal wash cycles. When loading the bottom of the rack for the TurboZone option, you will want to load large pans or casserole dishes facing the TurboZone spray jets at the back of the lower dish rack. The elbow of the TurboZone feed tube acts as a valve. Inside this elbow are two hollow steel balls. The normal position of these steel balls are off to the right and left side of this valve. Since they're off to the side, the water is able to flow through the water feed tube like normal. When the TurboZone option is activated, a magnet is drawn up to the back of the tank. The power of this magnet draws these two balls together, cutting off the majority of the water flow to the normal water feed tube. When the balls are drawn together, they're positioned in the middle of this valve. This forces the water to flow to the outermost sides of this valve to the TurboZone spray jets. There are three new components that make up the new TurboZone design: the actuator, the elbow valve, and the turbo spray jets. The TurboZone water flow is activated by an actuator located on the bottom back of the dishwasher. This actuator consists of four functional parts: the bracket, swing arm, magnet, and around the backside, the wax motor. Together, these parts make up the actuator assembly. When the TurboZone option is activated, the wax motor pushes the plunger outward. The plunger then pushes the swing arm toward the dishwasher tank. The magnet, located inside this swing arm, activates the TurboZone by repositioning the steel balls inside the elbow valve. The positioning of these balls forces the water to flow to the TurboZone spray jets. We will begin by pulling the dishwasher out from the cabinet to access the actuator assembly. Allow me to introduce Phil. Remember to always use a service mat to protect the customer's floor from damage when pulling a dishwasher out. Phil will start by first shutting off the water supply and disconnecting the power. He will then remove the toe and access panels and disconnect the water line, drain hose, and electrical connections. Next, Phil will remove the bracket screws that secure the dishwasher to the cabinet. He will then gently pull the dishwasher out and lay it on its back. Phil will need to remove these two screws that hold the actuator to the dishwasher base. He will then release these two tabs that position the actuator by lifting up on the tab using a flat blade screwdriver. The elbow valve and spray jets are accessed from the inside of the dishwasher. Begin by removing both the lower and the upper rack. Next, unsnap the TurboZone spray jets from the feed tube by holding the feed tube and pulling forward on the spray jet assembly. Remove the feed tube as you normally would by disconnecting it from the sump assembly. Push in the plastic tab at the back of the feed tube to release the TurboZone elbow. If the customer suspects that the TurboZone option is not working, you will want to first make sure the customer is using this option with one of the three associated wash cycles, which include the SMARTWASH, pots and pans, and normal wash. If you suspect that the spray jets are not working, check the water flow process. To provide you with a better view, we're going to have Phil climb inside. Phil will head to the back of the dishwasher where the TurboZone spray jets are located. Okay, Phil, that's enough horsing around. Phil will make sure the spray jets are free of obstructions such as hard water buildup or gummed up paper labels. Looks like Phil found something. Thanks, Phil. Remember, you can easily remove the TurboZone spray jets to check for obstructions and clean them if necessary. Phil will then check to make sure the elbow valve is free of obstruction by making sure the balls are moving freely. This can be done by placing a magnet over the top of the valve and listening for the movement. If you do not hear these balls moving, remember you can access the TurboZone elbow valve by disconnecting the spray arm and feed tube. If both of these components test out good, you'll then need to check the actuator assembly. A new service diagnostic capability allows you to test each component for a longer length of time, allowing these components to perform their actual function during the diagnostic test. You can enter this diagnostic mode by selecting Heated Dry, Normal, Heated Dry, Normal. Wait a few seconds until all the lights flash. This will let you know that you're in the diagnostic mode. Now you can allow each cycle to activate for a short period of time. Or you can rapidly advance to the cycle you wish to check by pressing the Start button. In this case, we'll be checking the actuator. To advance to this component, press Start 7 times. Since console features vary, be sure to reference the tech sheet for the particular dishwasher you're working with. In this case, you should see the quick rinse light illuminate. You will need to wait approximately 2 minutes and 15 seconds for the wax motor to fully actuate the magnet to the tank. To know when this has taken place, you'll need to watch for the lights to change from quick rinse to normal wash, and then back to quick rinse. Once this is complete, you'll want to select Cancel. Open the door and listen for the balls to drop. It will take approximately 1 to 2 minutes for the wax motor to release the magnet from the tank. Once this happens, you should hear the balls drop inside the elbow valve. If you hear this, you can assume the wax motor is working properly. If you do not hear the ball movement, you'll want to test the wax motor connection at the control panel. We will begin by removing these 6 screws and pulling the control panel away from the door. We'll then disconnect these 2 connections. Using a meter, we'll check for the proper resistance. This should read 600 to 1800 ohms. If you do not get an accurate reading, you'll want to remove the dishwasher from the cabinet, lay it on its back, and test the wax motor itself. If the wax motor has failed, you'll want to replace the entire actuator assembly. If the wax motor tests good, you want to look for a break in the wiring from the wax motor to the control, or check for any obstructions that may be keeping the swing arm from moving freely. This concludes the troubleshooting section of the new TurboZone components. Remember to always make sure the customer is using rinse aid. The newly designed rinse aid gauge makes it easy to see when the customer is getting low. When appropriate, be sure to also show the customer how to adjust the dispensing level on the rinse aid dispenser to allow more or less rinse aid to be released with each load, depending on their water condition. This concludes our introduction to the new TurboZone design. It's now time to exit the TurboZone.